Hey, have you ever felt weighed down by what other people say about you? Words can be so cruel. We grew up saying stick and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Yeah, right. Words can truly hurt. But today I want to talk about a woman that is, in my opinion, so resilient and so strong. How she literally turned, criticism, things that could have broke her down, into something that is uplifting and inspiring. And I love that. And I definitely want us to discuss this further. Yeah, we are talking about the amazing Naomie Pilula, how she transformed negativity into empowerment. For those of you that is not familiar with her story, she is a Zambian lawyer, and she posted a selfie. Typical what we all do, we post a selfie. And that selfie, the internet really tore her to pieces in that selfie. People went on and on about her features and what she looks like, what they don't like about her, and literally pick the woman apart. Like, who has the right to do that, And when I was reading the story and just listening, and I just thought, are you serious? Is that what we're doing as grown adults in this day and age? But that's the world we live in. Literally, this woman was picked apart because she posted a selfie. And according to societal norm, she didn't look a certain way. She wasn't pleasing to the eye, or whatever was said. And I think about it and I said, how many times do we do something and people, could pick? It may not be your looks. It may not be whatever it is that people might pick, the way your accent, the way that, your lack of, whether it be, lack of education, you didn't pronounce something right or whatever. People could be so nitpicky and they pick at things like that's their right. Some people find it as, it's my right. I know better, so therefore I am going to. And when I think about that, all that's happened, and I'll go into how she handled it, which she handled it brilliantly, I thought. But self-acceptance, self-acceptance is something that is so huge in life. When we learn to accept ourselves with flaws and all, with the ways that we walk, talk, do certain things, whatever. When we learn to do that, regardless of what comes up around us, we're not so easily shaken. We're not just taken back by it and crumble. We could stand the test of time. We could stand the words and realize sticks and stones, they really won't break my bones. Words will not hurt. Although they are powerful, I am not minimizing that. Words can sting in a way like no other. But when you are a person that's in your power, you're standing in your power, you're empowered, words are going to come. Yeah, they're going to, kind of take you back, but it won't take you out. And that's really the resiliency that I saw in Naomie. These words, what was said, it didn't take her out. If anything, what I'm seeing is it fueled her. Self-acceptance, loving yourself, loving what you look like, loving your flaws, learning to accept them. It's a deal breaker. It is a game changer, I should say. It's a game changer because it allows you to stand in your power. You stand in your truth. You stand in your conviction. I have this and I'm owning it and I'm walking in with it. It's so funny. For myself, for a long period of time, this bothered me. My big cheeks, I didn't like them. I just felt, can I barely see my eyes when I smile because they're right there. And it was something that, I used to try to practice or whatever. I had to grow into it and realize that this is how God has created me. And I love it. And I'm grateful for it. It's so funny. I was talking to a friend. She says, Berta, people pay money for these. But at one point of time, it wasn't a thing that I accepted. I saw it like, why couldn't my cheekbone be, a little bit taller or whatever. Whatever it was things that bothered me. Even as we think about, on a spiritual basis, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, and to give you hope in the future. Plans of prosperity, regardless of all what we have, we can prosper, we could grow, we could have abundance in every aspect of our lives. We are not at a standstill. We are on an elevation journey, regardless of what's happening, regardless of how people ridicule you or how people are making you feel. It's on them. It's their insecurity. When people are putting things out there in a negative light, it has nothing to do with the individual they're talking about. It has so much to do with that person. Their light is not bright, so they want to dim everyone else's light. And that's what I see that was happening for Naomie. They were trying to dim her light and look at her looks or whatever, things that really have no concern for someone else. Because when we don't create what we're going to look like, we are not our own creator. We get what we get, and we're fortunate. She's able to speak and move and have her attributes. And even if she didn't, who are we to say someone looks a certain way that's not acceptable? Think about it. Criticism explains a lot about someone, and that's really something I really want you guys to get. Mean comments, where they're coming from, insecurities, people's fears. I want to encourage you, if you're getting bullied in your workplace or your neighbor or whatever, recognize that doesn't define you. That's not you. That's not about you. That's about that person. That's about their low self-esteem. That's about their lack. And they want to emphasize that on you. The power of moving forward, we all are at an elevation journey. What we're doing in elevating, we're moving forward. The power of moving forward, that lies in Philippians 3:13 and 14. And, negativities that have no place in life. It talks about focusing on aspiration, focusing on the things that is good, that's pleasing. It's not about the negative stuff that's happening. When I saw Naomie, she did just that. She used what was said about her as a means to fuel her forward, and she mentioned something about she may not look aesthetically pleasing, whatever, people think that's aesthetically pleasing. She may not look that way to certain people, but she has accepted herself. She loves herself. She's accepted all of her features. People talk about her nose. People might talk about somebody else's forehead, someone's chin, or someone's neck, whatever it is. When you learn that self-acceptance, you stand so much taller. You don't give in to the naysayers. You don't give them ears. You don't listen. You don't get crumbled about that. Build that resilience, my friend. One of the things as you're elevating in your journey, build the resilience like Naomie, some of the tips that I could give you in building that is setting personal goals for yourself. What is the goal that I have for myself? Then when you're in that space, you're not thinking about what are other people saying about me. You're thinking about your goals. How are you going to achieve that? Practicing self-care. How could I take better care of what God has given me? That doesn't mean, you got to change for anyone, but whatever it is that will make you feel good about you. That's what you do. That's what you highlight. For a period of time, I remember wearing blush because I just thought that would, I don't know, that made me feel good about my cheeks, my rosy cheeks. So I thought rosy cheeks. That was a way that grew me. Now I'm not wearing all this blush, but I grew into it. So whatever it is, if it's something that if you notice it for yourself, you work on it for you, not for someone else. No. Accept yourself and grow into whatever God has given you. Surround yourself with people that's positive, that think like you think, that's not bothered by the little things, that have grown, rise above that. Those are the people you need to surround yourself with, supportive people who will uplift you rather than bring you down, because that's what it is. That's one of the huge stepping stone of turning negativity into motivation, into something that you could have as something you can talk about, you can help someone else with. So that's whatever it is. Seeing her story, her seeing I'm not aesthetically beautiful by society standards. I've accepted myself fully. Real beauty with light inside. Inside of us is the real beauty, the light that's inside of us. That's really what really matters. I want you to continue as you're in your journey. You're going to encounter all kinds of things: negativity, naysayers. People might speak about an accent, someone's whatever. Naomi's story is a powerful story. That's why I'm speaking about it. I see a woman that have strength, that have grit, that have resilience. That's not, gonna take her selfie down. She's standing proud in her looks and all of her features and all her God-given beauty. She's standing on that. And whatever you have, whatever you're working with, stand on your truth, stand on your beauty, stand on whatever God has entrusted you with, and don't let anyone dim your light. Because in essence, it's because they do not have a light. So therefore, they're looking for light to dim. Turn that negativity into empowerment. Faith, and I think about that, faith in the face of doubt. And I see that in Romans 8:31. If God is for us, who can be against us? God is for you. He has entrusted you with all that you need. Whatever people say, it's on them. It has nothing to do with you. Stand powerful, stand beautiful, stand strong, be resilient, keep going, keep moving forward. Share, like this video, comment. Let me know your thoughts about this whole Naomie thing. What's there for you? And if you've experienced any kind of bullying or anything like that, I want this to be a safe space for you to be able to verbalize what's there for you and get the encouragement that you might need, because you are on a journey of elevation, of growth, of development, and I'm right here to support you. As always, be good to yourself and be good to others. I'll see you next time, my friends.